want you to channel that rage into action, and here's 3 great ways to do it. Hey folks, this is Casey, and I am one mellow Marigold, and this is part 3 of Helping Hands, where we collectively try to ease our anxiety over the damage that the MAGA administration is doing by uplifting organizations and projects who are in a great place to help. We all have gifts and talents that we can use, and these are just a few you might want to look into. Let's start first with the American Library Association. We have all heard Trump's administration rail against fake news and has even restricted news organizations from their ability to question and report on government affairs. We are watching as the Department of Education is being dismantled and defunded, and while educational institutions are being told they have to ditch their DEI policies. It's no surprise then that the cheetah would come for libraries as well. So library kids unite. Thanks to MAGA, book bans have run rampant around the country, although it's not going to surprise anybody when I tell you that Florida, Iowa, and Texas are the top 3 states in this country for banning books. I mean, after all, Trump loves the poorly educated, right? And most recently, Trump has decreed by executive order that the Institute for Museum and Library Sciences be defunded and dismantled, even as Congress approved its funding through September of 2025. And while funding for local libraries is traditionally done with local tax support, the IMLS provides grant funding for communities that are traditionally underserved, like Indigenous communities, veterans, the elderly, and low-income communities. The IMLS helps make libraries possible for folks that can't access it in more traditional ways. And as many of Trump's programs do, this is really only serving to further disenfranchise folks who have the most to lose. The American Library Association is the oldest and largest library association, founded in 1876. The ALA mission is to provide leadership for the development, promotion, and improvement of library and information services and the profession of librarianship in order to enhance learning and ensure access to information for all. And while the ALA does a ton of work, I'm really going to focus on 2 areas today. Number 1, on April 10th, the ALA filed a motion for a preliminary injunction against Trump's executive order. The motion asked the court to stop the dismantling of the IMLS until the case can be considered by the court. Help them in this fight. Of course, you can consider a donation to the ALA, but more importantly, you can be reaching out to all of your representatives all the way up to and including the White House to let them know how you feel about libraries and how important their funding is to you. In addition, the ALA is helping communities to fight book bans. One of the tools they have that I think is really cool, through their site, you can report censorship in your community on a confidential basis. Reporting these incidents to the ALA helps them keep on top of local community development. It also alerts their staff to reach out to local library workers to support them and to provide tools, resources, and support to help them fight the censorship. In addition to reporting censorship, another way that you can help is to head on over to their site and to learn more about Unite Against Book Bans. This is a national initiative to empower readers everywhere to stand together in the fight against censorship. You can share the resources from the UABB Action Toolkit with your community and help defend the right to read. One thing that I'm personally really excited about is their guide to attending library and school board meetings. There are millions of us who have never been to a local town hall, a school board meeting, a town council meeting, and sometimes those events seem a little bit scary, especially to us introverts. So they have a guide that helps you prepare for attending those meetings to help speak out against censorship that might be going on in your area. And honestly, I really love that. That is a toolkit that I will likely be able to use myself. So to stay in touch with the ALA, of course, you can donate again, but you can also just sign up for regular emails and notifications on what's going on with their fight. And check out the toolkit. Get brave. Attend those school board meetings. Attend those library board meetings. We have to make our voices heard. I don't know about you, but I'm a library kid. I was a library kid when I was little. I'm a library kid as an adult. I love libraries. I love to read. And the idea that folks want to actively ban you and others from being able to read in a way that reflects themselves and their communities is abhorrent. No one should be afraid of education. If you're afraid of education, there's a pretty sinister reason why. Okay, moving on to number 2. Now, our second group we're going to talk about today is not actually a nonprofit organization, but a project. It's called Project Mailstorm. You might remember that about a month ago, I had highlighted a group called CC for Democracy, which is a similar type of project to Project Mailstorm. CC for Democracy creates postcards, printable postcards that you just have to stick a stamp on, and it sends itself right to the White House for you. Project Mailstorm is similar, but with a slightly different focus. Project Mailstorm is being organized by an Instagram creator, Gina Luker, and her app is the Shabby Creek Cottage. The idea behind this campaign is to create a problem and drain resources. Emails can be dealt with fairly easily. They can be auto-filtered into certain files and categories, and quite honestly, easily ignored. Mail, however, requires a person to deal with. All the mail that is sent to the White House has to be open, has to be managed in some capacity. So the idea is, if we continue to flood the White House with mail expressing our displeasure with the MAGA administration, that we're going to create a drain of resources on the White House and really try to get their attention. So while you can absolutely write out a whole physical letter or type out and print a physical letter that you stick inside that envelope, you could also just send junk mail or scraps of paper or create art or throw a little glitter bomb in that envelope. I am absolutely going to put glitter in an envelope. You mail it off to the White House and let them deal with the mess. It's annoying. It's good trouble. I love this kind of good trouble. It's also pretty inexpensive to do. It just costs the price of the stamp. Gina has also highlighted that odd size envelopes or envelopes with like wax seals are particularly problematic because they can't be easily scanned through certain machines and have to be dealt with by hand even more. And of course, we all know the chaos that glitter in an envelope can do. White House staffers are going to be glittered forever. And Gina has also suggested that it might be fun for like generations to divvy up the days. So maybe Gen X takes Wednesday and Boomers take Thursday and the silent generation takes Friday. Whatever it is, just to help give yourself a little bit of a goal. But send the White House letters, correspondence, physical envelopes, either expressing your displeasure or just filling them with junk. So if you're looking for a way to make a little good trouble, get your friends together. Have a little letter writing campaign night. Everybody can bring their stationery, their supplies, their whatever, and just write those letters to your heart's content. Stay mobilized. It's a great way to keep you and your friends together. Make sure you go ahead and follow Gina on Instagram. I think she's also on Facebook too, and follow along. God, I love being annoying. I'm totally doing this one too. And last but not least, let's move on to number 3, CareCen. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. The Cheeto's war on immigration continues, but it's not just undocumented immigrants that the Cheeto is punishing. He is deporting U.S. citizens and non-citizens to prisons outside of our country without the benefit of due process. And obviously, this is vastly unconstitutional. Everyone in this country who is being punished by law has the right to due process. And that's not happening, and that should scare the hell out of you. I know it is easy for folks like me with this Mayo pallor to kind of sit back and go, well, I don't think I've ever really done anything wrong. So, I mean, it's disappointing, but I'm safe from this. We are not all safe until this action is stopped. First of all, you and I know damn well you have done some illegal things in your life. You just didn't get caught doing it. And number 2, something that you did in your life that may not have been illegal at the time might now be considered illegal. And then what are you going to do? We cannot let this administration continue to punish brown, black, and indigenous folks unfairly and just to expect that it's going to be easier on us. This is not okay. So we have to continue to fight for the rights of immigrants as well as everybody. And that's why we're talking about CareCen. Let's take a peek at their website. CareCen was founded in 1983 when thousands of Salvadorians were fleeing the country due to civil war and seeking asylum here in the U.S. That organization now doesn't support just Central Americans, but all immigrants as well. They're based out of Los Angeles, California, and their mission is to empower Central Americans and all immigrants by defending human and civil rights, working for social and economic justice, and promoting cultural diversity. There's a lot of things that they do, just like the ALA. I'm going to just give you some of the highlights. They provide an initial free consultation for legal services and then affordable legal assistance for those in need. Charging something for those legal services is a big portion of how they make revenue so that they can keep their services and their website going. And immigrants need legal protections more than ever, especially with the MAGA administration cutting out federal funding for legal aid for immigrants. They also provide a number of educational programs, including citizenship classes, English speaking classes, a youth organizing program, which I think sounds really super cool. I would have loved to have been part of a youth organization when I was younger. They offer a parent council where parents can get involved in understanding how their local school systems work and how they can better advocate for their children in those schools. And they offer a Central American Studies course, which provides education to high school students for high school or college credit. They also have a day laborer center where employers can show up and hire experienced qualified workers. Now, if you have the funds, a donation to the organization is going to help them keep doing the very important work that they're doing right now. If you don't have the funds, that's okay. You can still sign up to get emails and updates from the organization. You can use their resources and sign up to host events to raise knowledge about their offerings. Now, while this isn't the main topic of the conversation, and I am not a historian, I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that my brain automatically decided to connect 1983 Salvadorians seeking asylum and the current relationship that Trump has with El Salvador's President Bukele. So, of course, I did some Googling, I did some reading, and while there's so much more left to read, and while there's so much that I need to understand about this whole situation that I definitely couldn't do in a single afternoon, what I did learn is that, once again, the U.S. historically was funding the El Salvador government during a civil war. We were not exactly on the right side. In fact, our actions in funding that civil war led to many of their population having to seek refuge with us. We have largely been on the wrong side of conflict. And I think it's rather embarrassing that we have intentionally caused trouble in other countries and then didn't accept the ramifications of that trouble. We are a complicated, tangled mess here in the US. And it's not just because people in other countries are taking advantage of us. I believe it's the other way around. I think the United States have been taking advantage of every other country since its inception. And this is why education is so important. If I didn't have access to resources that allowed me to look up information about the El Salvador Civil War, I might not appropriately realize just what a heavy hand the US has had in the histories of other countries. That's really important context. I can understand why Trump wouldn't want you to have access to it. So there you go. Those are 3 more opportunities of organizations and projects that you can look into, that you can learn more about, and that you might be able to donate your time, talents, and resources to. I know this is a really overwhelming time. It is for all of us. The chaos, the confusion, the back and forth. I'm going to do this, but then I'm going to do that, changing our minds. It's intentional chaos. The more confused we are, the more frustrated we are, the more stagnant we get in our action. And that's why we got to work so hard to keep communicating with each other, to keep this learning up, to keep the discourse up, so that when we're feeling frustrated and silenced, we've got a little video we can look to say, yeah, okay, you know what? I'm going to do that today. I'm going to write a letter today. I can't do anything else today, but I'm going to write a letter today. Ooh, you know what? I can't do anything else today, but I'm going to email this link to this website over to my friend so-and-so, and both of us can learn a little bit more about it together. These are the things that real people can actively do to stay on top of the issues, to keep our hearts centered, to quell our anxiety while we struggle through the next 4 years. I appreciate you all so freaking much. You can't even imagine. I appreciate your good heart and your willingness to fight back. And fight back we must. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I love you, and I'm going to talk to you real soon, okay? Bye!